It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for the Untitled Walking Dead movie, known at this point as the Rick Grimes movie. We're gonna talk about who will potentially be in the movies. Maybe if not the first one, then second or third. So I have broken down this list into 5 different categories: the confirmed category, the strong possibility category, the maybe category, good choice, and wish list. Now, I'm going to get into what I mean by those coming up, but as far as the confirmed category is concerned, these are people we know for sure will appear in the movies. Rick Grimes obviously is the very first one. It's a no-brainer that Rick is going to be in the movie. It wouldn't make sense otherwise, so Rick is definitely going to be in the movie. At least the first one, if not the second or third. Then we have Jadis. Now I think for Jadis, at least for the very first movie, she has to be in there. Like, we saw her take Rick to that community, or she was the reason why Rick was taken to this community in the first place. So I think it would be completely odd for them to have Jadis not show up. So she's definitely going to be in the very first movie, unless they do something where they do a time skip and they don't go back in time to show us Jadis, which is again unlikely. Like, I could see Jadis not showing up maybe in the first half of the first movie, but at some point she has to appear. Next, we have the strong possibility categories. It's basically characters that are very, very likely to appear in the movies. First, Isabelle. Based off of what they showed us in season 5 of Fear, we know she is from the CRM community and we know she went back there. So it would be extremely odd for them to tease that and not have Isabelle return at some point. Maybe if not the first movie, then she's going to appear in one of the movies. So I think it's a strong possibility that Isabelle is going to show up in one of the movies. Next, we have Michonne. By this time, most of you know that Michonne is gonna leave in season 10 in some way. Now, we don't necessarily know whether she's gonna be killed off or just leave, but season 10 is definitely her final season. Now, I strongly believe that Michonne is not gonna die in season 10, but she's going to have an open-ended exit. What that means is that there's gonna be room for her to return. Now, I'm also a strong believer that she's going to make her way into the Rick Grimes movies. And the reason why Michonne leaves in the first place is she finds out that Rick is alive. So she's gonna go after Rick. So because of that, I think it's also a very strong possibility for Michonne to show up in one of the movies. Most likely the second or even the third movie. But I think it's a strong possibility. Next, we have the maybe category. So these are characters that it would make a lot of sense for them to appear, but we don't necessarily know if they will. First, we have Althea. Now, the only reason why I have Althea here is because of what they did in season 5 of Fear. Because of how they connected her story with Isabelle and how they kind of teased the Rick Grimes movies in Fear the Walking Dead, and how much of a connection Althea had to that story in season 5 of Fear. So because of that, I think it's very likely that she will appear. Next, we have Heath. So of course, Heath was traded to the CRM organization. Jadis traded him. We know that for sure because they confirmed. So Heath is definitely at the organization, at the CRM. Now, whether he's alive at this point or not, that's a different question. But then again, why would they make him leave or have him be traded if they weren't gonna revisit his story arc and have him come back? So I think it's very, very likely that he will be in the movie as well. But at the end of the day, it all depends on the actor and whether he can make it work for him and whether it's gonna fit his schedule. Now, I think if they made him exit for this reason, they probably talked to him about the movie early on. And so he probably knows that the movies are going to be coming up. So I think it's very likely that he's already confirmed for the movies. They just haven't confirmed it right away to the audience. Next, I have the good choice category. Now, what I mean by that is it would make a lot of sense for one of them to appear in the movies. And that's because they have a connection to both Fear and The Walking Dead. They're one of the crossover characters. So if you're gonna make a character go to the movies, it might make sense for it to be one of the 2 crossover characters, Morgan and Dwight. Now, I think it makes more sense for it to be Morgan because of the connection Morgan and Rick have, but it could also be Dwight. Like, I could also see that happening. And they could potentially make that work as well. But both Morgan and Dwight also have a chance to showing up in the movies. Now it all depends whether they're gonna move them out of fear and whether they can afford that or not. But that's a different question. Next, I have the wishlist category. So these are characters that are most likely not gonna show up, but I think it would be extremely cool for them to show up in the Walking Dead movie. Now I have Madison Clark. She left. We don't know if she's dead or not, but you know, she's definitely up there as one of the people that may potentially return at some point in some way. If not the movies, then maybe back in Fear, or if not Fear, then maybe in the Walking Dead's original show. But Madison Clark is the first one. Then I have Alicia Clark. Alicia Clark, because of what happened to her in season 5, it's at this point unlikely for her to appear because we don't even know if she's going to survive. But she's also one of those characters that would be very cool to see in a movie. Then I have John. John is my favorite Fear the Walking Dead character at this point, or one of them, and I think it would be super cool for him to appear in the movies and for him to interact with Rick, knowing both of them are cops and, you know, all of that. It would be extremely cool for John and Rick to potentially be working together in the movie and for them to have a bond, sort of like brothers, kind of like Daryl and Rick in the original show. Then I have Daniel Salazar. Now for Daniel Salazar, I just think he's a very cool character. I like the layers to his story and the layers to his character, so I think it would be extremely cool for him to appear in the movies. But then again, these are the wish list characters, so it's probably very unlikely for them to show up, but it would be extremely cool for them to show up. But I want to know everyone's opinions about this. Aside from the confirmed category, how much of the other characters do you agree have a chance of appearing in the movies? And who's in your wish list for appearing in the movies? That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.